All right, we got another stacked show ready to go for you guys. This episode, we're bringing on Nico from the first European trials. He won the 66 kilogram division, became the youngest ever European to win trials at just 17 years old. So excited to talk to him. But first, I wanted to tell you guys that this show is presented by IM8, the all-in-one formula for fighters, built for performance, trusted for recovery. Right now, you can use code FLOWSPORTS for 10% off and visit im8health.com/FlowSports to get yours today. That's what I said. You heard that right. Code FLOWSPORTS will get you 10% off at IM8. That's the letter I, the letter M, the number 8, health.com/FlowSports. This product has been trusted, through all kinds of sports and different things. Dustin Poirier, one of the athletes that takes it. A lot of athletes are using this. We got some right here, some of that fancy branding. So make sure and go get you guys some IM8 right now. Help support them because they're supporting jiu-jitsu. But let's get into the episode now. Welcome back to the FloGrappling Show, a.k.a. the worst show on the internet. As always, I'm Trey Robinson. We got Joey Gilps right there, Big Uncle Reed right there, and then calling in, very special guest, Nico Eats World himself, the phenom. Let's give it up for Nico.
Nico, thanks for calling in, brother.
All right, Nico, I was going to take a shot at your last name, but I just want you to say it first. How do we pronounce that name for us Americans watching?
It's Mikuliszyn.
Mikuliszyn.
Yeah.
All right, Niko Mikuliszyn. Oh, already blew it.
Like collision. It sounds like collision.
Mikuliszyn. Niko Mikuliszyn. You just won, ADCC European trials at 66 kilograms. So obviously we want to dive into that. It was a super impressive run. Super exciting to watch you throughout the entire tournament, But we want to dive in to Nico himself a little bit too. We want to get to know you. So we know you're a Polish grappler who lives now in London and everything. Do you want to kind of talk about when did you first start training? Was it in Poland? How did you start doing jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, so at first, obviously, I didn't do any jiu-jitsu at first. I lived in Poland for 10 years. Then me and my family moved here to London when I was about 11. And the way I was introduced to jiu-jitsu was my dad heard about it on the Joe Rogan podcast.
So classic.
Yeah, exactly. So he decided to give it a go. And after a few sessions, he decided to basically bring me into the sport. And ever since, obviously, I started it, I've loved it.
You were like what, like 10 years old whenever you started training?
Yeah, 10.
Nice. That's pretty early, but I'm not going to lie. It's not as early as we see a lot of kids who come through and win trials these days. A lot of times you hear someone started at like 4 years old or, -3. I'm not sure. Some of these people trained before their parents even thought about having a kid, it seems.
Where'd you live in Poland, Nico? Where'd you grow up in Poland?
I grew up in Gdańsk.
Where's that?
Have you heard it? So it's up north near the sea.
Okay. Any good memories from Poland?
Yeah, I would say so. I grew up a lot in nature. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in the forest playing, doing a lot of sports and stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah. I've been to Gdansk one time, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
did you enjoy it?
Did you expect that?
I did not know.
I went to Koszalin to visit Mateusz Szczecinski's gym a couple years ago, and then we flew from Poland to somewhere else. I can't remember where, but we had to go from Koszalin to Gdansk on like a train, and then I just basically had like a couple hours to kill and drove around for a little bit and then went to an airport and flew out of Gdansk. But my takeaway of Gdansk, for only being there for like 2 hours tops maybe, was beautiful architecture. A lot of old, European buildings and stuff. It looked very beautiful. How would you rank it on all the Polish cities?
I haven't been to that many Polish cities, but for me, it ranks very high. Obviously, just because of me growing up there.
For sure. So you moved to London when you're like 10 years old. Your dad starts training, so you start training as well. Where was the first gym you started training at in London?
I started in RGA.
Nice.
Roger Gracie Academy.
Pretty solid place to start, to be honest.
Yeah. For sure, yeah. And obviously that's where I met my coach, Joe Lennon, who I've been with now. And he opened up Los Bandidos. So yeah, I started there. I learned all my fundamentals with him and everything.
That's awesome. What was that? What was training at Roger's gym at 10 years old. What was that like for you? Do you have any memories or stories from training there?
Not that many. It's very difficult to remember it. But from what I remember, is it was very difficult. The training room was quite hard for me being 10, and the other kids maybe being bigger and stronger than me.
So
So yeah.
when you first start training, Nico, do you like jujitsu? Are you like kind of naturally good at it? Like when did you start kind of like, maybe seeing that this is something that you could do for long term?
Yeah, I would say I found it naturally somewhat easy. And I definitely like the idea of being able to like control people and submit them without hurting them, especially because I didn't realize grappling was a sport. So yeah, I really enjoyed it starting off.
So, Nico, you're talking about grappling as a sport. You're only 17 years old. You're already having a lot of success. I guess what I want to ask is this what you're planning to do for your career? Or are you sitting back there like, no, actually, I'm going to go become a doctor later on? It's just crazy that I won trials. Like, is this kind of the thing that you're thinking about investing in as a career?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love it so much. There's no way I'm gonna stop now. I'm only starting.
At what age do you feel like you started to think about this as an option to make it your career and to make it your life?
Yeah, so basically after I finished high school, I was 16. I decided not to continue any more education, and I've been obviously kind of professional only for a year and 2 months now. So that's when I decided to start.
You finished high school at 16 years old?
Yeah.
What a
Yeah, I
beast,
guess it's
dude.
different. Yeah.
Is that common in the London school
So
system? Here in America, you
yeah,
got to be pretty much 18, but normally we take a couple extra years. You might be 19 or 20 before you finish high school.
yeah. Here in the London it is it's normal like that. You finish high school at 16, and then you can either go to college or you can go to something called sixth form where you go on for a couple more years.
Nice. I was stalking your Instagram and everything, trying to learn some stuff about you before this. I'll admit it. But one thing I kind of noticed that I think is a little bit interesting is I was scrolling back and I got all the way to your first Instagram post, and it was September 30th, 2024. So basically 1 year ago. And then you just kind of started that Instagram, or at least started posting and all of that. And now a year later, you're a trials champion, punch your ticket to ADCC 2026, which is going down in Poland. So that's got to kind of be pretty cool, to get to return to Poland for all of that. But I'm just wondering, like, has it been a wild few weeks now after winning ADCC trials? Like, have you gotten a bunch of new followers, people messaging you, tagged and all kinds of stuff? What's the kind of that experience been like for a young guy like yourself who's so early on in his career?
Yeah, for sure. I blew up a lot, gaining a lot of new followers, getting a lot of views, and yeah, I've really, I guess, liked being in the spotlight, and yeah, I really
So when did
enjoyed
you
it.
when did you start kind of following maybe the ADCC
Yeah.
circuit and maybe kind of seeing that this is something that you wanted to go after? Do you have some deep memories of watching ADCC maybe 2019 or 2017 or before that or anything? And I'm just wondering when did you kind of really start putting the focus on I want to win ADCC trials?
I would say my main thing was when I saw Joseph Chen and his run in ADCC and becoming the youngest European trials winner was when I watched him, especially the fight with Tauza in the final. I saw him win, and I was like, I really want to be the new youngest European trials winner.
Did it feel good to accomplish that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Have you watched ADCC Worlds ever?
Yes. Yeah,
What
yeah. I've for the past two, so 2020 and then 2024. That's
2022?
the two I've seen. Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
mm-hmm.
I I guess I don't know. I blanked on a question there. Sorry,
I,
Nico.
I I have a question. So, you're younger, you're training at Hodger Gracie's Academy. First question there. I know Hodger, he has commitments outside of the gym as well, so maybe he's not teaching every single class, but he is in there sometimes. Are you aware, or do you ever get aware that like, oh, this guy's actually like probably the greatest jiu-jitsu fighter of all time while you're training at Hodgers?
Yeah, for sure. It was super great, obviously, him being in his gym and having him around and knowing that he's so good. I personally haven't seen that many of his matches because it was a while ago, but from the some of the replays that I saw, he was dominating his matches and doing so great. So I was super happy, obviously, to be training at his gym.
Do you feel like you were ever able to personally learn anything? You know, obviously you were super young, but personally able to learn anything from him that, you know, maybe you're still using today, or, you know, any piece of advice or anything that you remember that stands out from him especially?
It's tough to say something that kind of like stands out, especially because it was a while ago. But for sure, like some stuff from the gi that he taught and stuff like that is good. But it is kind of difficult to implement it into no gi.
Do you have any plans to go back into the gi? I know that you are, you know, you've had some IBJJF success in the no-gi circuit, but, you know, you ever plan on putting the kimono back on?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But right now, I'm currently focused, obviously, on winning ADCC. So
For sure. I'm pretty sure the gi is banned at Los Bandidos or something. I think they have a pretty staunch rule against the gi there.
Well, they do have a new gi Masters World Champion.
That's true,
shout out
Ferris.
So yeah, maybe the doors are back open.
Yeah.
So that actually leads well to my next question. When do you make your way over to Los Bandidos? When do you start getting hooked up with this kind of like underground-ish circuit of all these almost hooligans, right? You know, tell me about that process of becoming a Los Bandidos boy.
basically, as soon as the gym opened, I was there helping out with opening the gym. But it was great seeing the development of the gym. Obviously, seeing it go from obviously opening to instantly growing into such a big academy, one of the biggest in Europe for sure. So yeah, it's very cool, especially having so many great athletes on the mat, such as Ono Flanagan, Taylor Pearman, and Charles Agremont. So it's so cool, especially with all the visitors coming through as well.
Where did you make the first connection that got you into that Los Bandidos crew? Where did you first start meeting these guys?
Coach.
Yeah, it was with my coach.
Oh, there you
So
go.
yeah. So in Roger Gracie Academy, I met Joe Lennon, who's
Right.
the person who opened Los Banditos, and he's obviously my coach, and I've got a very strong connection with him.
Yeah, so you kind of transitioned obviously with him from Rogers Gym to Los Bandidos, and yeah, like Joe mentioned, Los Bandidos got a wild crew. I love watching the Los Bandidos content, all the stuff the gym puts out, whether it be kind of like some vlogs and stuff like that, or even on social media. But it is this funny crew of characters, you know, like Owen Jones comes through there, Owen O'Flanagan, Taylor Pearman, like you said, and then you got like Ferris, you know, you got the Wizard of Ozbek coming through there throwing people on their heads. So listen, don't worry about who's listening right now or anything, okay? Let's just say those guys aren't going to listen to this episode. They're not going to tune in. How many of these guys you smashing in the room, Nico? Tell us the truth. You know, you beating these guys up or what?
Yeah, for sure. Up all the time.
I know, like old Daddy Freddy Stress himself too, you know, the guy who created Pommy and stuff, he's training there. You beat him up in preparation for trials and all that?
Yeah, him especially. He deserves a little bit of beating up for talking a lot of trash in the training room.
That's right. Yeah, I bet he does deserve it. This obviously, you know, it's a wild group of guys there. I think it's like a fun crew to follow along with and everything. Did they have a big reaction to you winning? Were they trying to get you to do anything crazy, party with them? I remember Owen after he won, he was posting pictures in the club with champagne, all that. Like I don't know if these guys are always going to be a good influence on you, Nico. So you got to keep your head on your shoulders. But were they trying to go out and party, or they have a big reaction for you? Were they stoked?
Yeah, they were definitely super happy. But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like to go out and party, despite it being the biggest achievement so far in my career. I don't like to do that. I like to stay focused, down to earth. Just train the next day.
Well, there we go, Nico. That's how we know you're going to be successful in this. You know, you got a good vision of this. Got already focused on the world championship and all that. But we wanna get into your trials run here now. Obviously, we talk a lot about the European trials on this show. To be honest, this show kind of stemmed from the 2023 European trials, as we decided like, oh man, we got to kick back up a show because that tournament was so sick. It was so sick watching Owen, all those other guys, you know, so we wanted to talk about it. And, you know, we've all kind of remained big fans of the European scene and specifically the trials. because the trials is one of the most grueling events a competitor can do. You have to do so many matches, there's such hard matches every time, and now we often see, especially in 66, a very young guy is usually the guy who can kind of come through and find his way through that gauntlet, and you were that guy this year who was able to get it done. So just to start, you arrive in Poland, ready to do trials. What are you thinking, going into it? Are you prepared for the tournament? Do you feel like, I'm just doing this for the experience? Do you think you have a shot at winning? What's your mindset like going into such a big event?
I was super prepared from the beginning, especially with the camp and everything. I felt great. So I was prepared. Some of my friends obviously were competing as well. They were looking to do it for the experience, but myself, I felt like I was ready to win it.
Yeah, and obviously that, rang true. You were ready to win it for sure. What about one of your favorite moments throughout the entire tournament? Did you have a favorite moment? Maybe outside of just winning and punching your ticket, but I'm sure that was probably a pretty good moment.
Any sick jiu-jitsu that
Yeah. Any sick moves or anything that you were proud that you got to put on display?
Yeah, for sure. I was super happy with the rear naked chokes that I was doing. Basically, the two in the semifinals and the finals. I was happy to get the submission in, I guess, the most important rounds, right? Where most people can see it, where it's filmed the most. But especially with how sticky I was in the final with that back take sequence, I was very happy with that.
Yeah, maybe for people who don't know, Nico, a lot of people maybe kind of tuning in and seeing you for the first time, but just kind of generally, like what is your game? What is your jiu-jitsu style like? What are you trying to play out there?
I like to show that I can do anything, but especially I love to show my submission defense. I think I'm very comfortable being, let's say, not being in submissions, but being comfortable in escaping those submissions. So I'm basically, I have enough confidence to go for some risk, like taking a shot, maybe ending up in a guillotine, but still being able to escape and end up on top. So I really like to show a lot of my submission defense.
What's like the number one submission you like escaping from?
I would say now I've been working on some armbar escapes. Not only the one I showed in the finals, but some cool J-Rod armbar escapes where you have to take your shoulder out of the position and stuff like that. And I also really like defending the back. Not only I love attacking the back, but I also feel very comfortable defending my back.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's relatable, Nico. I too like to really work on my submission defense, and and also I like to show how comfortable I am going ahead and letting the guy finish on, go ahead and let him finish the submission and just go ahead and tapping. I've got that part locked in. So once I progress a little more, I might move on to the next step. But I'm currently kind of hung up on that little area. But
So Nico, let's say we have somebody, not Trey, who wants to get better at their submission defense because, unlike Trey, they want to start tapping out less in the gym. What piece of advice would you give that person as somebody who just won ADCC trials on how would you suggest that they get better at their submission defense?
I would say it's a very basic advice, but drilling, because in the gym
hot topic.
Yeah, it is very hot right now. But yeah, I love to put myself in a position and literally just escape maybe like 20, 30 times and be so comfortable that I can do it off of instinct rather than have to think about it. Especially maybe if you're a competitor, if you're not, then you don't have to worry about it that much. But when you're competing, you want to be able to obviously be able to escape off of instinct rather than be in a position, think about it, and then maybe someone catches you.
Were you doing that a lot leading up to trials, is putting yourself in bad positions and just working on escaping like that?
Well, unfortunately, before trials, I had such a great camp. The first week was going very well, but I injured my knee leading up to trials. So the whole camp, I basically couldn't really train. And I had to focus on stuff like rehab, cardio, and weights. So, yeah.
But you told us a minute ago that you felt super ready for this. How could you feel so prepared when you had had this injury throughout the camp?
Because I felt very mentally strong, despite obviously maybe being a little bit. Despite having obviously an injury, I still felt so confident being able to win. So yeah, I would say it's due to my mentality and knowing that I'm very confident in my technique.
Well, I think we definitely saw that on display throughout trials. And, like you mentioned, we saw some of your escapes. We saw some of your submissions. We got your final here queued up where we can watch kind of like your final match here at trials. If we want to go ahead and start playing that, maybe you could talk us through some of this. And just to start, while we're getting the video going, what was kind of your mindset going into this final? You finally made it here. The final is set. You win this one. You're going to the 2026 ADCC World Championship. Was there anything going on in your head or anything before this one?
Yeah, for sure. I was going on the mat, and I knew I was gonna come out as the youngest trials winner. There was no way I was gonna let the guy basically take it away from me.
Were you familiar at all with your opponent?
No, I didn't know him before.
So what's the plan here?
Talk us through the match.
So basically now it's over. It's the final, so I can't pull guard. So I'm just trying to obviously feel the guy out, see what his wrestling's like, and yeah, I'm just obviously hand fighting here. He's doing a good job collar tying me.
Were you confident in your wrestling going into this one?
Yeah, for sure. But it was a bit difficult with my knee to wrestle, so I couldn't show everything off, but I did as much as I could.
The video just skips here. I think that happened on the stream. We're really sorry about that.
Yeah.
But Nico, is it weird for an ADCC match where they start? There you go. Where now you can't pull guard like that. There you were able to get to your guard off of a scramble, I believe is what happened. But like, talk to me about these rules. Like they're changing. Suddenly it's later in the tournament. The rules change again. What's that like?
It can definitely be weird, but I would say I'm very comfortable with the ADCC rule set because we do it so much at the clubhouse, and then obviously I compete a lot in ADCC Opens, so I'm very comfortable with the rule set.
When you get into your guard here, you're now doing seat. Oh, here we go. We're about to see an armbar escape. Let's see what Nico's got.
Yeah.
Talk us through how you're getting out of this one.
Yeah, here I'm keeping a butterfly grip and trying to get up to my knees and turn into him and escape up my elbow line. Here I wanted to keep stay on top and keep him down, but I couldn't.
On a scale from one or go ahead, Nico.
Okay, well, here I like to basically, whenever scrambles happen, I like to run straight into the middle, obviously show my opponent that no matter what he did, I'm not tired. Show him, obviously, I'm ready for
that's like wrestler tactics, You always see wrestlers kind of sprint right back and just be ready to go.
For sure, yeah. I definitely took a little bit of an advice from them.
Definitely. On a scale from 1 to, damn, that boy's strong, how strong would you say you are?
I feel like I'm very strong.
Nice. The Polish power, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Polish power.
All right, so here you are. You end up back, in a seated guard. What are you thinking here? I saw a guy breaking down your seated guard and how you're kind of able to keep your head forward and look up at your opponent, where a lot of guys look straight out, and it kind of helps you maintain the structure where you can't get pulled over. Is that something you're hip to, or are you just kind of doing your thing?
Yeah, I definitely try to focus on that, staying seated rather than going supine and letting my opponent play on my guard. Rather than that, I like to push my opponent around while he's standing and obviously try to dominate the space in the middle.
Nice. Do you have anything specific you're trying to get into here in these exchanges?
Currently, yeah, I'm looking to obviously even entangle him because as you can see, every single time I entangle him, try and grab him, he kind of does a good job of going away, I guess, kind of not trying to entangle with me.
Nice. Who all do you have in your corner during this? Do you have a lot of the Los Bandidos guy or your main coach? Who all's there kind of cheering you on?
It was mostly my coach Joe Lennon, and then as well Kombach Ryan. He's my camera guy. He was there hyping me up as well.
Nice. He did some work for us also. He filmed some rounds of Owen Jones for us and everything.
Oh, nice.
Yep. 17 years old, you're already in the trials final. You got your camera guy there with you, dude. Nico, you sound like you're living the life, brother. Already graduated high school? A lot of jiu-jitsu guys can't say they did that.
That's true.
And so how about the moment? This is probably one of the biggest moments of your career. A lot of people watching, of course, a lot on the line. Are you feeling the pressure, or you feel like you handled it pretty well?
No, I didn't feel that much pressure. I felt like I stayed calm the whole time. And despite it being my biggest moment, I could even say in my life, I felt very calm.
Nice.
Is there any consideration from you at this point about waiting for the, because at this point there's points, there's no points. Are you waiting for points periods to kind of kick things up and get going, or what's your mentality around how you manage that with an ADCC rule set?
Yeah, no, I don't like to wait for the points period. I just like to scrap it out the whole basically match. I don't really obviously let the points decide whether I come on top or not. I might make like a tactical decision to pull guard right before the points, but I won't stop putting on the pace like on my opponent.
Would you primarily say you're a guard player, or do you like top position? What are you kind of looking for in an ideal situation?
Yeah, I would say I like to play everywhere. Obviously, here in the trials, I couldn't show off much of my top game due to my knee injury. But yeah, I've been working a lot of basically guard passing before the knee injury. For like half a year, I was doing so much guard passing, but obviously I couldn't really show it off.
Do you have any athlete out there who kind of has the biggest influence on your passing or your style of passing you were kind of trying to work on or anything?
Just my coach. He basically his whole game. I kind of just copy it to the T. And yeah, thanks to him, obviously his great mind and helping me basically become the best version of myself, I can basically perform the best.
That's awesome. I feel like that's often true whenever we see, an athlete find a lot of success, that a lot of times there's a coach who's kind of been helping them through most of there's kind of creates a very loyal bond between athlete and coach. So it's good to hear you got something like that going.
Yeah, I'm very glad I do.
So you feeling good at this point in the match? Are things going according to plan? How you feeling?
Yeah, for sure. Despite him having done some takedowns, I feel like I'm pushing him off the mat every single time. I'm dominating the middle. He's just kind of, I'm basically chasing him on the bottom, which is not the role of the guard player. You're basically, the role of the top player is obviously to engage, be on top, whereas I'm the one doing the engagement.
Boom. Talk us through this.
Nasty, sweet.
Yeah, I looked straight away to get to the body lock. Not stopping at all, just keep following him, keeping my chest to his back, and then eventually he stops. I get one hook in, and as soon as I get the second hook in, I know it's over. I know it's done. I've got the body triangle, and I'm just going for the finish, smiling, knowing he's not gonna escape.
There it is. You got the finish.
Got the got the celebration.
Yeah. So for people who are never going to win ADCC trials, what does that moment feel like?
It feels amazing. It's so difficult to obviously explain, but yeah, it feels like the best moment ever.
That's awesome, dude. Can we rewind the video a little bit? I want to see that sweep and the scramble again.
The last minute.
Yeah, just right there before the submission. Right after you won, what were you yelling? We saw you yell something.
I was saying, let's go.
Nice.
Let's go back maybe like 30 seconds from here, Amanda.
Yeah.
Keep going back. Keep going back.
Like you're getting
Right
yeah,
there.
right here's great.
Oh. Look at that. Your opponent got a stern talking to right there from the referee. Give him the point.
There's a beautiful little hook sweep. Talk to me about this hook sweep.
So here, obviously my opponent eventually does give me the butterfly guard, and I go for a nice sumigashi sweep where I control the tricep and the head to off balance him and get the top position. He does a good job getting up, but then I follow him, obviously keeping the body lock, like I was saying, the chest to back connection, knowing that I'm gonna take the back and finish.
Is that your camera guy? That's him right there, right? Going nuts.
Yeah,
Matt
that's
side
him screaming. Yeah,
yeah. You might
you're gonna
have
see
to
him
tell him
go
to
crazy in a second.
You might have to tell him to lock in on that footage. I think the video is going to be shaky.
Yeah.
There he goes. That's awesome.
Incredible. So now you're going to the ADCC World Championships. Obviously, only the most elite grapplers get to go to this tournament. Obviously, you're very young, but have you watched any guys in the past that you're like interested in matching up with? Obviously, now you're going to have some big matches with some big heavy hitters who have been on the scene for decades almost at this point. You're going to be competing against. So are you excited about that? And is there any names that you're really kind of circled? Like, I want to test myself against this guy or that guy or...
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to go against anyone, basically. I want to test myself against everyone and anyone. So yeah, I'm excited to get some super fights once I'm ready after recovering from the knee. And then, yeah, I'm ready to basically test my skills against anyone. Yeah.
How long do you think the knee rehab and all? How long will that take you?
I think it'll be maybe month or two. I think roughly a month or maybe a month and a half. So yeah, it's difficult to say, but right now it's feeling very well. I'm back to drilling, back to doing weights. Obviously, still keeping with the rehab, so it's good.
Do you watch guys like Baby Shark and Pato and Gabriel Souza, some of the guys who've had success, obviously in ADCC 66 kilogram division? Are you watching any of those guys? Watching tape or anything?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I watch a lot of those guys, try to figure the game out. Obviously, see how how good they are, obviously, to be doing so well. And yeah, just trying to figure out what they do and how they do their things.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I think it's going to be exciting seeing you at the World Championship for sure. You know, it seems like the crew of guys we get at ADCC just keeps getting younger and younger, you know, so it'll be cool to watch you go out there. But before we let you get off here, we got some fan questions for you. You want to answer some fan questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I got to admit, I think some of these might be your Los Bandidos boys trolling a little bit. Like we said, it's a rowdy crew. So, but
Yeah.
we'll start off with, we have Ephraim Boy and Misko BJJ. They both wanted to know, how long have you been training jiu-jitsu? We kind of already answered that a little bit already, but how long have you been training jiu-jitsu?
So I've been training for 7 years.
7 years. Nice. That's all it takes to become an ADCC Trials champ is 7 years. So everybody lock
Yeah.
in. All right. And then Finn Siddell 009 said that you're the funniest juvenile at Los Bandidos. Not really a question, so he might not have gotten the assignment. Is that true? You're a funny guy at Los Bandidos?
Give us a joke.
Yeah, give us a joke. Give us your best joke.
I don't do that. So
Yeah, I'm just kidding, Nico. And then
no, of course.
I won't say who this one's from yet, but I'll tell you afterwards. He says, "What's it like riding shotgun in the Miami blue Porsche? Life looks good now."
I can already tell who that's from, and it feels great.
Who's that? Who do you think that one's from?
It's the goat, Osbeck.
No, close. It's Owen O'Flanagan.
Was
Ooh,
close.
okay.
Yeah, so who's got the Miami blue Porsche? I'm trying to get in on some of this action. You guys are cruising around these London streets in a Miami blue Porsche or what?
Yeah, it's Christian Osbeck. He's a very stylish man.
Nice. He's got some stylish jiu-jitsu too. I'm always watching his throws and whatnot. I never really see any videos that he doesn't post though. I'm always watching the ones that he posts of him throwing people. So I'd like to see the other side sometimes, you know, but I don't know where to find them.
Yeah.
And then Naomi Yanko said, "How did you build that stamina?"
Just training hard every day and doing round after round without taking that little rest. Maybe people might be like, "Oh, I've had obviously enough training. Let me just rest this one out." Whilst I'm obviously just pushing the pace the whole time.
Do
There you go.
you do any of the ecological training, or is it just drilling and sparring?
It's kind of both, but we do drills and then positional sparring. So you could say it's both, but it's mostly headed towards the normal side of jiu-jitsu.
The classic side.
That's right.
Those
Classic.
normal Los Bandidos boys.
All right, I'm going to read this one exactly as he wrote it. So what it says is what is written. I'm not messing up any names here. It says, "Who's the harder round, Eugene Flanagan or Daddy Freddy?"
Definitely Eugene.
Eugene gets that one? All right, that was from Daddy Freddy Stress himself, so I don't think he's going to like hearing that.
He definitely won't.
Freddie told me one time, like I talked with Freddie a decent amount, and he told me that he's the #1 guy that people love getting highlights on because he's always talking in the gym. Is that true?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he talks a lot
There we go.
of trash.
Every gym needs that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that everybody can stunt on.
Yeah.
Now listen, ain't nobody stunting on me, but I talk a lot too, and people like it when they finally get me. And some people stunt on me, but you know, whatever. I don't.
Every gym needs that guy.
Yeah. All right, and then the last question here. I'm reading it just like they said. "Hey Norcus, how did you get strong when you used to be so pathetic and weak?"
Just training hard in the weights room, and I think I can guess who that is.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's Faris.
Another close one is Charles Allen Price. So probably your strength and
Ooh.
conditioning coach.
Okay, yeah.
Do you lift with Charles and that crew at Trin City?
Yeah, I do. I do weights 3 times a week with him, and that's how I get so strong.
Nice.
All right, Norcus.
Yeah, do they call you Norcus?
Yeah, that's a nickname that he came up with, and no one else uses.
So what do you prefer we call you? We can call you Nico, we can call you Nicodem, we can call you Norcus, whatever you want.
Nico works just fine.
All right, cool. If I'm around Charles though, I might sneak in a Norcus every now and then if you're okay with it.
That's fine with me. Yeah.
Nice. So you guys do have a good crew of like strength and conditioning guys. I feel like Owen O'Flanagan was kind of the first one that a lot of people we brought this up before also, if anyone's a devout listener, you've heard us talk about this, but there's that picture of Owen O'Flanagan looking absolutely shredded right before ADCC 2022 that I feel like goes viral every so often. They'll do like a picture of him not looking shredded and the picture of him looking super shredded. And that kind of like, at least for me, helped blow up kind of Charles Price's lifting and all of that and that whole thing. And now there's like a whole crew there. Ferris, obviously a part of it and everything, all these super jacked dudes. Has that been super beneficial, lifting with that crew and everything, kind of having their guidance on not on the mats, but in the weight room?
Yeah, 100%. It definitely helped to improve my strength, and I would say add on to it as well. So yeah, it's been great, obviously, having them around to become so strong.
Nice. How do your rolls with Charles go? And remember, he did just say you used to be pathetic and weak, so, you know.
He did say that, but yeah, I just clean him up on the mats.
Nice, bro. Yeah, I have a feeling, you seem a humble, nice kid. You probably don't want to say anything, but I bet you're getting a lot of these guys at this point, trials champ, the young, relentless cardio, sick jujitsu. So it's probably exciting anytime you're in the Los Bandidos gym and everything. But I guess, that's pretty much all the stuff we want to cover with you, Nico. Reed has one more for you.
Obviously we're a year out now from ADCC World Championships. You got a year to prepare. What's the plan for you now? Going back to the gym, is there anything specific you're working on or anything like that just over this next year? And then could you give us a prediction on what's going to go down in Poland next year?
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna work on basically everything: my passing, my wrestling, even more guard work, and more leg lock stuff, more submission stuff. So basically everything. And what's so great is I have a whole year, and I just can't wait to see how much better I'm gonna be. But yeah, I can't wait. And not only I think I'm gonna win. I know I'm gonna win ADCC.
Let's go, bro. You have another one, Joe?
Yeah, what's it like having ADCC return to Poland, return to the place where you were born and grew up for so many years? What's that like?
It's great. Obviously, having it back where I was born, where my roots are from. So I know I'm gonna have a lot of the fans on my side, and I hope I do. And I think it's gonna help, obviously, with how pumped I'm gonna be for the event.
We've mentioned him, but we haven't really talked about this. Owen Jones is going to be in your bracket, right? He's going to get the invite. He was top 4 at the last ADCC. He's going to be in your bracket. What are your thoughts on that? You might have to face Owen Jones, who is also a Los Bandidos guy. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's I feel fine about it. Obviously, he's from Apex, but yeah, he does come down to train at Los Banditos. But I think if I do go against him, it's just going to be a good match where I feel like I can come on top.
There you go.
Awesome, Nico. Well, thanks you so much for calling in. Is there anything else you want to say before we let you get out of here?
I just want to say thank you, obviously, for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Thanks, bro. We appreciated you coming on and all that. We're definitely going to be watching your career, seeing where you go from here. Hopefully maybe sometime next year or something, we could make our way back out to London and we could come by, see how you're living, how you're preparing and all that, but we'll be watching anytime you compete, and we'll see you, at ADCC 2026 for sure. So thank you so much, Nico. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you. See
Awesome,
you later,
bro.
guys.
See ya. Nice, man. Thank you so much. Okay, he's out of here. All right. All right, there we go. We had Nico on the show, Nico, he's not coming out of his shell completely yet. You can tell he's young cat, figuring it all out still, figuring out what all this means. Like I said, it was crazy whenever I was like trying to like go back and learn more about him and stuff. Cause sometimes you do look at these people's pages and it's like, they've been posting, trying to get like social media clout, all that stuff for so long. But it's like, dang, dude, first Instagram post is just from a year ago. It's like, not only is he young and just on the kind of front end of his jiu-jitsu career as a whole, but just like this whole game, is almost real to him. So I bet it is a pretty surreal experience for Nico, kind of blowing up now, winning trials and moving on from there and all that. But
yeah, just super excited, that the ADCC trials are getting going. We got Pavel, we got Mark McQueen, we got Declan, who punched his ticket as well. Sharbayev, who punched his ticket. So now we've got the first set of guys who are locked in for the ADCC World Championships. And, the trials are going to get going here soon. November 15th, we have the East Coast trials. Another set of people are going to punch their tickets. So, this is just such a fun, exciting time in jiu-jitsu. I love the lead up to an ADCC. And we got things rolling. It feels like the more we see of these trials, the more of these kind of younger up-and-coming guys who aren't on everybody's radar are going to start winning these trials. So just exciting time.
Definitely. I know there was a lot of jiu-jitsu that happened this weekend. Probably can't talk about all of it, but is there anything else we should talk about while we're here? I don't know.
I know that coming up, we have BJJ Stars coming up this weekend and Ocean Pro, both happening on Saturday. So if you're a fan of professional jiu-jitsu, make sure you're checking out both of those. There's going to be some awesome shows. Ocean Pro happening from Italy, showing off a lot of these European guys like we've been talking about. And then BJJ Stars, biggest super fight show in Brazil from Sao Paulo, going down live. Chaboy on the commentary, going to be an awesome one.
Give us an example of the call. A cool line you might drop.
There was a line this weekend in the Crawford-Canelo fight, which I thought was really funny. You got to bring ass to get ass.
Nice.
And might look for a reason to drop that one in there at some point.
All right. All right. Yeah, go ahead and work that in. So that's what you can expect on the call.
That's what you expect on the call. You got to bring ass to get ass.
But, I'll give a little story here, a little story time for the fans at home that, maybe they were like, what the heck, dude?
Appreciate you guys listening this late into the podcast.
Yeah,
if
really.
You're still listening.
Yeah, if you're still listening. And I'll check the YouTube analytics. I'll see who was out, who was, still in. But a little diatribe. Me and Reed were recently in Las Vegas. All right. We are in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm not going to disclose any of our secret locations we like to hang out in Vegas, but you guys can guess. You know what I mean? Now, I'm just kidding. We were outside of our hotel, and there's a gas station across the street from our hotel. And we're like,
I know what story you're telling.
And we're like, all right, let's go over there. Maybe we'll get a Gatorade, maybe some water, maybe some beef jerky, dude, just whatever we want to take back to our hotel room. And we go in the gas station. We come back out. It's 10:30 at night. We look over at the pump. And there's a guy over by the pump. He's got these wicked calves, man. These real wicked calves. And I'm like, whoa, look at those calves. Got a bald, shiny head. The pump lights are shining down on him. It's reflecting into my eye. I have to shade my eye like that a little bit. And I'm like, dude, that dude kind of looks like David Goggins. And Reed's like, whatever, And this dude kind of looks back at us. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, that is David Goggins at 10:30 right now at a Terrible's gas station, just pumping gas. And I'm like, that's David Goggins. So we look at, and we're both like, holy shit, that is David Goggins. And he looks back at us again. And I'm like, yo, David, big fan, man. David Goggins did the unexpected. David Goggins was like this. He was looking back. He was pumping gas. All right, let me get the mic over here. He was pumping gas, and he looked at us kind of uninterested. And he just went, and threw the tightest shaka we've ever seen. He just looked back, threw it, and then turned back away. He was like, that's the end of the conversation right there.
I just don't think you guys understand how tight his shaka was.
No, it is.
The wingspan on his shaka. It was a full closed fist, but with his pinky and his thumb jetting out from either side. It was the tightest. I can't even do it justice.
You're saying, so they were very far apart, the finger and thumb.
Oh, it was nuts,
the farthest apart they could possibly ever be. I've been a big loose shaka guy.
Even a shaka wiggle.
Yeah, shaka wiggle, going on the Rotolos, loose shaka. When I see people say, hey, what's up? What's up? Give them a loose shaka.
Nah.
Not anymore.
No.
Now we are completely transitioned to the tightest shaka you can possibly throw. That is what's in right now.
Get a close-up of these. Get a close-up of these tight shakas right here. Look at that. This isn't even a fraction of what David Goggins could do.
Yeah.
This guy's shaka was so tight. Oh, I'm cramping. I got a shaka cramp. These were so tight and so wide. It's not even like 99.9% of humans aren't capable of throwing a shaka in the way David Goggins did. But also it was just the aura of the shaka that he threw was just like, hey, this interaction's over. I'm pumping gas and don't want to talk to you guys. Boom! There's a tight shaka to let you know that this is the end of the interaction and I'm going back up to fill up the Range Rover.
I just don't think that you can really understand how tight this shaka was.
It was incredible, dude.
Unfathomably tight shaka. It literally blew me back from my where I was standing.
I mean, as soon as he threw that shaka, it was clear to me that that was the shaka that killed bin Laden.
Yeah.
I know that history says otherwise, but it was so clear that it was like, oh, whatever we know about the SEAL Team 6 mission, it's a sham. David Goggins' shaka had to be the final blow on that mission right there. That was it was
This is
incredible.
a 100% true story.
It is, yeah, it's very true.
And I do believe you. I wasn't there for it. And I, for one, say thank God I wasn't there. Because I would have called bullshit on David Goggins being a guy to do any hang loose symbol at anybody.
Ain't nothing loose about it.
That is what I'm hearing, but that is the meaning of the symbol. It's like Henry Kissinger doing a peace symbol.
No,
you've kind of been disqualified from that sentiment.
It means something different when David Goggins throws
Apparently.
it. Yeah, no, it was incredible.
He wasn't saying like, "Hey, what's up, boys?" He was saying, "Shut the hell up."
Yeah.
End of conversation.
And now I will say after that, we were kind of just like meandering around the gas station and I kept going, who's going to fill up the Range Rover? Who's going to pump the gas? And he didn't look at us again, but I thought those were funny jokes. I thought that was a funny bit.
I love that part.
Yeah, you know, the old David Goggins, who's going to carry the boats? You know, who's going to fill up the Range Rover? So I don't know. If you guys are ever in Las Vegas at 10:30 at night at a Terrible's gas station, make sure and keep your eye out for David Goggins. He could be there, prepared to throw the tightest shaka you've ever seen. But that's a little story. Just a little story for the fans at home. Anything else we need to?
Not have time to cover the jiu-jitsu that happened this weekend.
There's a lot.
Landon Elmore looked like a beast out there.
Landon
Killed it
Elmore,
at
players
EBI,
out there,
of
yeah.
course. That
Check the grappling bulletin as everything.
Jet Thompson won PGF. He's a beast, obviously. Did you guys watch Gable Stevenson's MMA fight?
That
All
was
the
great.
highlights.
Yeah. He out there crushing guys.
Oh, look great.
Definitely. But it definitely made me think that, like, Craig would have killed him. Watching him, Greg. He went for like
Standing up.
He went for like an Americana on the guy. The guy got out, and I was just like, oh man, like yeah, for sure. If they did a grappling match, everything Craig wants would have been right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't ever think that was a question. To be, like, I know people were like, "Is this real? Is it Gable's an Olympic wrestler?" It's like, dude, no. Craig is the best in the world.
Best grappler in the world.
He's gonna submit him in a jiu-jitsu rule set. But you know, yeah, it was a good weekend for grappling overall.
Yeah, a bunch of great stuff happened.
This is getting harder to do because I got an echo in my ear, but you know, I'm trying to power through it. Yeah. But yeah, so obviously, you know, great to have Nico on. That is like, you know, kind of the beginning of the ADCC season for sure. That group of guys is all in. There's going to be invites coming through. A lot more to be had for the ADCC season. I think North American trials coming up soon in November 12th and 13th, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, thanks you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.